Tihei Māori ora. I ngā iwi, i ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā hoa whā, a roranga tira mā, tēnā koe, ko mātua. E kui mā, e koro mā, e te whānau o Aotearoa, New Zealand. E te whānau o EPMU. Ko Lem Brown, taku ingoa te koro mātua o Manukau. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. I've acknowledged the people of the land. I've acknowledged you all here. I've acknowledged the tangata whenua, and in particular the kaumātua Joe, who has welcomed us all here this morning. I've acknowledged your leadership. I've acknowledged you all. I've introduced myself, as Andrew has, and it's great to be here with you this morning. In the vernacular of the young people of our community, I want to welcome you to the South Side. And to those of you who don't know where you are in Māngere, 275 represents. See, now they got it over there. What that means is the first three numbers of the telephone book is 275 in Māngere, and represent, well, that says it all. They're proud to represent Māngere. So, my colleague, who is the MP of this community, Sua Williams-Seo, talks about Māngere as being the gateway. And in many ways, of course, it is. You have entered, most of you come from around the country, and you have entered this particular part of Auckland through the airport. And I want to tell you a little bit about Māngere and about the south side, as we call it, of Manukau, the southern part of the Auckland region. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge your history, the critical role that you have as a union played, not only in the labour movement of New Zealand, but in the development of this country, your contribution, your history of struggle, of strife, of representation of the working people of this country, and in particular my community. It's a stellar history. I'm not going to go over it. Enough said. It's the reason why I'm here. I'm a boy from Otara, so my roots are deeply embedded in the South Auckland community. This is working class hard. And so in that sense, I'm here not only as the leader of our community, but I'm very much here as a representative of the people that you represent. And I know your history. I know the struggle. I understand it. I'm going through it myself at the moment. So I want to welcome you into our community and give you one or two facts and figures about where we're presently at. Ages 15 to 24 in our community, and most represented in Māngere, unemployed, 25%. Māori and Pacific kids, 35%. High. Difficult times. Our community is usually on the back end of the difficult time. And so these kids I'm working for at this particular point in time, that's my focus, absolutely, always has been, on the young people of our community and ensuring they've got a pathway to one day maybe becoming an apprentice or engineer or whatever, but a pathway into life. And so in our community here in the southern part of the region, we've known and understood that there is a critical synergy and partnership in our building our communities together. And it is between the workers and the business people of our community. And often the twain were the same. So the history of our place is putting that partnership in place and ensuring that trust and good faith between those who are building and those who are employing was paramount. And as a council, we've often stood in the middle of that, and we've tried to be a good employer for our staff, the 1,000 of our people who are employed out of our communities to look after the nuts and bolts of running our council. We are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, employers in Manukau. That relationship of trust, faith and goodwill was critical in the go forward for us to send as a good employer back into our community. This is the standard that we apply. And I believe by and large in the history of Manukau we struck a good balance between what was right and fair between our employers and our employees. And I think that attitude of cooperation, of understanding, of fairness, that attitude has to prevail in the new Auckland Council. It is critical. What's at stake here is hugely important. I first of all want to just acknowledge those from around the country. I sit in local government New Zealand with the mayors of Opotiki and Whakatane and Palmerston North and Dunedin and Christchurch and Whangarei, and the people who represent the small, the large, the grand and the villages of this community of Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm honoured and humbled to sit in the presence of those people and sit with them as an equal, even though they might only represent 5,000 people and me 380,000. I know the country is wary of this change, a bit worried about Auckland coming together. Could prove too much of a powerhouse. I mean, we're called the big smoke already. We could become the huge inferno for the country. And so I know that Kiwis are a bit wary about this change. But I want to tell you, if I'm sitting in that chair on the 1st of November, that change is about Auckland sitting as an equal member and beside the people of Opotiki, of Whangarei, of Palmerston North, of New Plymouth, of wherever around this country, as an equal partner in this nation-building exercise that we have been going through for centuries. We sit as equal partners, with respect to you, not out of arrogance or out of some perceived God-given right for a destiny to lead this country. We sit here equally with you. I want you to accept and acknowledge and hopefully respect the fact that that is the leadership that I will give Auckland in the national forums of this country. I want to tell you what's at stake. Auckland City has variously had a revolving door of leadership over years, an extraordinarily divisive political environment that's about them and us. And we've never had that in Manukau. It's been about us growing together and working together and cooperating. Local government's like that, it's not Parliament. So in Auckland, the them and us translated into something like this. At the southern part of Auckland City is Otahuhu. Otahuhu, great proud history. The original portage for Tainui to cross over going into Manukau. A wonderful old town with a great history. Produced the odd Prime Minister or two like David Longy. Produced the odd Mayor of our city like Sir Barry Curtis. A great tradition. Great working class community. Deserving of an equal place at the table at Auckland City. So when they ask for a swimming pool for their young kids, because it's an overwhelmingly young place, for 10, 15 years they asked for a pool, and the answer had always been out of those CNR-hooers that you go and swim in the Papatau pool because it won't cost you a thing. Papatau is in Manukau. That was the answer they got. In Otahuhu, you go through that place of pride, and boy, there's no loving given there, no care, nor respect. The most important ingredient in Auckland going forward will be its ability to reach out and deal fairly and equally with each of the communities, whether they're working class or whether they're the Blue Rinse Brigade in Remuera.